Are you over the age of 60? Then listen up, because the drug companies are searching for a pill, but the real solution is already in your kitchen and your daily routine. The truth is, they want you to stay sick so they can keep making money. And in this video, we are going to expose the cure lie and give you the 3 scientific truths. If you don't know these truths and you're over the age of 60, it's going to be too late, and you may already be suffering from Alzheimer's or some other type of dementia. So make sure you watch this video all the way to the end, because at the end I'm going to show you how you can reverse the damage already done and even grow new brain cells. You heard me right. Grow new brain cells. But first, let's get into the 3 big lies. Now, the first lie that they want you to believe is that there is no cure for Alzheimer's, and therefore you need to take drugs like Aricept, Exelon, and Namenda to slow its progression. Well, guess what? Those drugs have been on the market for over 20 years now, and not only have they not slowed down the progression of Alzheimer's, they've actually increased the risk of death by 2 to 3 times. There are also serious side effects, including death. And what's really scary is that the FDA approved these drugs based on flawed science. I'll explain more in just a moment. But first, let me share the number 1 thing that you can do to protect yourself against Alzheimer's and dementia. You see, most people think of the brain as one thing, but in reality, it's 3 brains in one. First, there's the lower brain, which controls basic functions like breathing, movement, and emotions. Above that, you have the midbrain, which controls vision and eye movements. And then you have the upper brain, which is responsible for higher-level thinking, planning, speech, and memory. Now, every part of the brain needs oxygen and nutrients to work properly. But unfortunately, as we age, the arteries that supply blood to the brain become clogged with plaque, and this plaque actually blocks the flow of oxygen and nutrients to the brain. This blockage causes a condition called hypoxia, which means that certain parts of the brain begin to shut down. That's why it's so important to take control of your health and use natural methods to unclog those arteries and restore blood flow to the brain. The good news is that by following the 3 scientific truths that I'm about to reveal, you can unclog those arteries, restore blood flow to the brain, and protect yourself against Alzheimer's. Now let's get back to the first lie. The first truth is that Alzheimer's is a complex disease involving many different factors. However, the good news is that many of these factors are within your control, and you can reduce your risk of developing Alzheimer's by following a few simple steps. What I'm about to tell you is backed by solid evidence. In fact, researchers recently conducted a study that followed over 1,800 people over the course of 6 years. They found that those who ate a diet rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins had a significantly lower risk of developing Alzheimer's than those who ate a standard American diet. This is because the right foods can help to improve blood flow to the brain and reduce inflammation, which is a major risk factor for Alzheimer's. So what should you be eating? The answer is simple. Just eat like a Mediterranean. That's right. The Mediterranean diet has been shown to be one of the best diets for protecting against Alzheimer's. This diet consists of fresh fruits and vegetables, whole grains, legumes, and nuts, as well as healthy fats such as olive oil. Of course, you should also avoid processed foods, sugary drinks, and unhealthy fats. By following the Mediterranean diet, you can provide your body with the nutrients it needs to stay healthy and reduce your risk of developing Alzheimer's. There is a saying that goes, "You are what you eat." Well, that couldn't be more true when it comes to your brain. The food you eat has a direct impact on how well your brain works. In fact, researchers have found that eating a balanced diet can actually improve your cognitive performance, giving you better memory, focus, and concentration. Here's how it works. The food you eat is broken down into nutrients that are then absorbed into your bloodstream and transported to your brain. Once there, they're used to produce neurotransmitters, which are chemicals that allow brain cells to communicate with each other. When you eat a balanced diet rich in the right nutrients, your brain is able to function at its best. On the other hand, if you eat a poor diet lacking in essential nutrients, your brain cells may not be able to communicate with each other effectively, leading to problems with memory, focus, and concentration. So what kind of nutrients does your brain need to stay healthy? It all comes down to 3: omega-3 fatty acids, B vitamins and antioxidants. Omega-3s are essential for brain health and have been shown to improve cognitive performance. B vitamins, particularly B6, B9 and B12, play an important role in maintaining healthy brain function. Antioxidants, such as vitamins C and E, protect the brain from damage caused by free radicals. By eating a balanced diet that is rich in these nutrients, you can give your brain the nourishment it needs to stay healthy and alert. So what are some examples of foods that contain these nutrients? Start by incorporating fatty fish like salmon and mackerel into your diet. These fish are packed with omega-3s and will give your brain the boost it needs. As for B vitamins, leafy greens like spinach and kale are a great source, as are eggs and poultry. Finally, when it comes to antioxidants, berries are a superfood, containing high levels of vitamins C and E. The second big lie is that once you develop symptoms of Alzheimer's, it's too late, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. Well, that's simply not true. While it's true that Alzheimer's is a serious condition, it doesn't mean that you have to passively watch it progress. In fact, there are several things you can do to potentially slow or even stop the progression of the disease. Let's take a look at the scientific evidence. A recent study published in the Journal of Neurology, Neurosurgery and Psychiatry found that aerobic exercise can actually help improve symptoms associated with Alzheimer's. In fact, researchers found that participants who engaged in regular physical activity experienced an average decline of only 0.57% per year in their thinking skills, while those who were less active saw an average decline of 1.29% per year. That's a huge difference. So, what exactly does this mean for you? It means that you shouldn't just sit back and accept the fact that you have Alzheimer's. Instead, you should take proactive steps to manage the condition and potentially slow its progression. One of the best things you can do is start a regular program of aerobic exercise. This could include activities such as walking, jogging, cycling, or swimming. Exercise has been shown to improve blood flow to the brain and stimulate the growth of new brain cells. It also helps to reduce stress and improve sleep quality, both of which are important for maintaining cognitive function. Let's move on to the third big lie. The third lie is that stress and lack of sleep won't affect your brain. Well, that's not true at all. In fact, chronic stress and lack of sleep can have a serious negative impact on your brain and increase the risk of developing Alzheimer's. Let's start with stress. When you're stressed out, your body releases hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. While these hormones can be helpful in short bursts, like when you're facing a deadline or preparing for a presentation, they can become harmful when you're under chronic stress. For example, elevated levels of cortisol have been linked to a decline in cognitive function and an increased risk of depression. Sleep deprivation can also have a serious negative impact on your brain. When you don't get enough sleep, your body isn't able to clear out toxins that build up in your brain. This includes amyloid plaques, which are a hallmark of Alzheimer's disease. In fact, research has found that people who get less than 6 hours of sleep per night are twice as likely to develop Alzheimer as those who sleep for 7 or more hours. So what can you do to reduce the risk of stress and sleep deprivation affecting your brain? First, find healthy ways to manage stress, such as through exercise, meditation, or spending time in nature. Prioritize getting enough sleep and try to stick to a regular sleep schedule. And if you're struggling with either stress or sleep, don't hesitate to seek professional help. By taking these steps, you can help protect your brain from the negative effects of stress and sleep deprivation. So there you have it, the 3 scientific truths about Alzheimer's. By following these truths, you can help protect your brain and reduce your risk of developing Alzheimer's. Remember, the power is in your hands. Don't wait until it's too late. Share this video with one friend and help them discover the truth about Alzheimer's. Thank you for watching.